Hello friends, Fred Bergeron from Inaxsys, hope you're doing well today. We had recently a whole bunch of calls on this on this device that I didn't show you yet. It's not a new device, we've had this for years, but it's called the PRT-MNR2-DIN repeater. So basically this device here allows you to extend your RS-45 module network for GX or WX controllers, using Ethernet or using RS-45, okay? So in other words, this device is powered by 12-volt DC like most DIN rail modules, okay? So we have 3 RS-45 communication ports that we can enable. So if I'm using Ethernet to connect to my GX controller, for instance, then I have the ability of creating 3 different RS-45 networks, okay? So again, these are completely isolated. So the way it works is we enable power on port 1, which will power up the module, and then you can see power 1 is activated. And I'll show you the programming in a few steps. But basically this will allow you, when you're unable to basically have conduits or pass new RS-45 cables, you can use some Ethernet network to communicate with your controller. Okay, so that's the most common method of using this device. If you use this module with RS-45, so basically the COM1 will be the COM port connected to the RS-45 network with the GX and WS controller. In this case, we have COM2 and COM3 available to have a new daisy chain of modules on each, okay? It's recommended to have a power supply to power up the MNR2 and have a different power supply for each port. So this way, if the power supply fails, let's say on COM3, the modules on COM1 and 2 will still communicate and function properly, okay? So this is important. I don't suggest to connect all the ports using the same power supply because you're then breaking the isolation between the ports, okay? For the last couple of years, after a specific firmware version, the port that is used to communicate with the controller over Ethernet has been blocked, okay? So it's off by default for security reasons. So you need to use commands in the GX or WX controllers to open the port and allow the module to communicate. So that's by far #1 reason why this device sometimes doesn't want to work. It's because the port is closed by default in recent firmware. Okay, so if I show you here, you see in the user guide for the MNR2, which can be found on the ICT.co website, we'll basically copy these 2 commands here, and then we open, let's say, my GX software, and under the site controller section, under general, under commands, we will paste these commands here. So when I save this controller will download, the software will download to the controller, the port will then be open, then I'm ready to program my MNR2 to communicate, okay? So if I show you, remember the GX and WX controllers use 192.168.1.2 as the default IP address. This device is by default 192.168.1.3. So when I reach that interface, I can now log in and min, and obviously I suggest you changed it. All right, and then I can see the status of the module. Now, just for demonstration purposes, I didn't bring my whole kit, so the module is obviously not online with the controller right now, but I want to show the configuration of it. So under the configuration tab, you'll see the IP address, you can change it. All right, so this is important. If you're using Ethernet to communicate with this device, you have to make sure the biasing is on the 3 ports, okay? If there's a controller connected to port 1, then you will remove this option because it's not needed when there's a controller on the network already, all right? So in this case, it means that I'm using RS-45, okay? So, but if I want to use UDP over Ethernet, I select this option here and I enable it on the 3 ports, and I need to change this repeater mode from RS-45 to UDP, okay? And this is the port that was opened by one of the commands that we just programmed earlier, okay? Then you can save and hit the restart button here, and then the device will connect to the controller, and then you're ready to add modules to COM1, 2, or 3, okay? So again, the main reason why I wanted to do this tutorial is to let people know that now this port is blocked, so you need to open it so they can communicate over Ethernet, okay, which is again the most common method of using this device. Okay, we've used this in apartment solutions or in regular systems where you have maybe a shed at the bottom, at the back of the building where there's a network, but you want to put 1 or 2 access doors on it or some burglary zones, and so on. Okay, so this is a great device to expand your RS-485 network without having to pass some conduits, drill holes through walls and things like that. Okay, so basically once this is saved, then we're ready to add modules. Okay, so again, this was how to quickly program a PRT-MNR2-DIN to work with the GX and WX controllers. I hope you liked the video. Hit the subscribe button because we have tens and hundreds of different tutorials available online on our channel. So this is good for you to learn and also to learn new products that we're launching frequently. Okay, so again, Fred Bergeron from Inaxsys. I hope you liked the video. See you soon.